I get it when you're about to spend a few $100 on a new grill. You're juggling a lot of questions. Is this thing going to handle the weekend BBQs, the daily quick cook meals, and the occasional searing marathon? Will it actually make my life easier? Or am I just loading up on extra burners I'll never use? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've been watching what people are saying in forums, reading the specs, and even testing a few similar Napoleon models in my own backyard. So let me walk you through what matters most about the Rogue Pro's 625 before you decide to pull the trigger. First off, the layout of the Rogue Pros feels like it was built for someone who likes to keep the kitchen moving while the grill does the heavy lifting. There are 5 main burners that give you a solid 34,000 BTU per square foot cooking area, which translates to enough surface to lay out a full spread of burgers, chicken thighs, and even a couple of veggie trays without crowding. The real kicker is the rear infrared burner. It's positioned at the back of the grill and runs at a higher temperature than the regular burners, making it perfect for that high heat sear you get on a professional line cook stove. If you've ever tried to get a steak with that restaurant-style crust on a standard propane grill, you'll know how hard it can be. This rear burner takes the guesswork out of that. There's also an infrared side burner that's great for cooking sauces, sautéing peppers, or keeping a side dish warm without stealing space from the main cooking zone. Now, who really benefits from this setup? If you're the type who throws a party every few weeks, loves to grill a variety of proteins at once, or enjoys using the grill as an outdoor kitchen extension, the extra burners and the infrared stations are a real asset. The rear sear station means you can start a steak on the hot side for that perfect crust, then move it to a cooler zone to finish cooking without overcooking the interior. The side burner becomes a mini stovetop where you can melt butter for a corn cob or whip up a quick pan sauce right next to the meat. No need to dash back inside to the kitchen. For families with picky eaters, you can keep the kids' hot dogs on a low-heat burner while you're tackling the prime rib on the high-heat zone. That kind of flexibility saves time and keeps the grill from becoming a bottleneck. On the flip side, if you're mostly cooking simple meals, think a couple of burgers and hot dogs once a month. The extra burners might feel like overkill. The grill's footprint is larger than a basic 2-burner unit, so you'll need a decent amount of patio or backyard space. Also, because the rear and side burners are infrared, they require a bit more attention to get the temperature just right. Infrared heats up faster and stays hotter, which is great for searing, but can be a little tricky if you're used to the slower, more forgiving flame of a traditional burner. You'll spend a few minutes getting a feel for how quickly the rear burner jumps to 600F and how to dial it back without burning your food. One practical strength that often goes unnoticed is the warming rack that sits above the main cooking area. It's not just a passive shelf. It's positioned so the heat from the burners circulates around it, giving you a gentle warming zone for buns, rolls, or a side of roasted potatoes. I've used it to keep a tray of garlic bread warm while the main course finishes, and it does the job without drying the bread out. The durable finishes on the grill body and grates also hold up well against the elements. I've left the Rogue out through a couple of rainstorms and the paint hasn't peeled, and the stainless steel grates stay relatively rust-free even after a season of grilling in a humid climate. The downside, however, is that the grill doesn't come with a built-in temperature gauge on the lid. You have to rely on a handheld probe or an external thermometer to gauge internal cooking temperatures, which adds another piece of equipment to track. If you were hoping for a sleek, all-in-one solution with a built-in digital readout, you'll need to buy a separate thermometer. Also, the propane tank connection is a standard 1/4-inch CH valve, which is fine for most users, but can be a little fiddly if you haven't dealt with larger tanks before. I found that tightening the connection a bit more than the manual suggests helps avoid the occasional leak, but that extra step is something to be aware of. From a value perspective, the Rogue Pros sits in the mid to high range for backyard grills, and that price is justified when you think about the extra cooking real estate and the infrared technology. You're not just paying for 5 burners. You're paying for the flexibility to sear, saute, and warm simultaneously. If,